In Africa, high-speed rail is accelerating. Now, thanks to unbelievable high-speed rail, we can zip across Africa at a blistering 320 kilometers per hour. The train also has two levels. Even in a developed country like the United States, the fastest train can only travel at a maximum speed of 260 kilometers per hour. Even if a massive high-speed rail project has been suggested, the high-speed rail system for all of Africa is only the beginning. They plan on using high-speed rail to boost the economy, very much like China in that respect. As part of its urban high-speed rail plan, Morocco has constructed the continent's first high-speed rail network. It's the first high-speed rail system ever built. The 320 km per hour top speed of the high-speed rail is online with that in Europe. Even in China, such double-decker high-speed rail trains as the Eurostar have never been seen before, but they have now been manufactured. More so than any high-speed rail train in China, the high-speed train's coach design is lavish. It will link Casablanca and Tangier through Rabat, the capital. It would take around 5 hours to go between two of Morocco's major economic centers that are connected by frequent train. The travel time has been reduced to 2 hours. Traveling from New York to Washington might take as little as 90 minutes at this speed, greatly reducing travel time between cities. Difficulties in getting somewhere. If you want to get there quickly, get on this bullet train. Throughout the whole place, Moroccans laughing is a possibility. It's clear that the Moroccans place a great importance on this complicated bullet train. Then why did Morocco go on debt to build Africa's first high-speed train network? Historically, Morocco has been among the world's richer countries. The 36 million people who call this nation home helped produce the continent's fifth highest GDP. It seems to reason that no financing will be necessary to build the high-speed rail. Notwithstanding, from 2009, the nation has been affected by the global financial crisis. The economic situation in Morocco has deteriorated significantly as a consequence of events in North Africa and the West. The economic development of Morocco has hit a roadblock, putting the nation's future in peril. Because of this, in 2010, Morocco decided to follow China's blueprint for economic expansion. If you want to become rich, you need to put up roads first. Instead of spending money on infrastructure, Morocco should put its resources into improving the country's schools and economically depressed regions, considered a debt trap in the form of time. But Morocco's government has decided to put a lot of money into infrastructure so that it can expand its railway in the hopes of luring more international companies to set up shop there. The country plans to build 3,800 kilometers of regular trains and 1,500 kilometers of high-speed rail lines across the entire nation, in a network of 43 communities. The first stage of the high-speed rail project, which began off in 2011, was estimated to cost $2, 4 cents of $1 billion, and span 200 kilometers. Morocco made the decision 200 kilometers. Morocco made the decision too. France, China, Saudi Arabia, and other countries contributed to the construction budget. China agreed to provide loan funding for the project at the time, and the plan included a promise from China to see the railway project through to completion. The projected copy in France will require at least 7 years and a substantial financial investment. 5 years. France is determined to fight tooth and nail for this plan. And rightfully so. French officials have been plotting this move for some time now in order to dominate the African high-speed rail market. In addition, they advocated for French to replace English as the continent's official language. Thus, France is prepared to shoulder half of the finance for the project in Morocco with Saudi Arabia. The remainder of the budget comes from contributions made by Kuwait and the UAE. The King of Morocco decided to transfer the railroad to France because he considers French technology to be more advanced than China's. There is debate in Morocco on this topic because Morocco needs money badly right now. There are others who praise China's rapid progress at little expense. China is preferable to Europe as a solution provider because of the following reasons. China finished the project's most difficult segment, the third bid phase, when Morro was done. This section is 24 kilometers long, yet its construction took China 4 years, while the other 173 kilometers were constructed by other countries in 7. A question may arise throughout the process of determining trains that go at high speeds in comparison to Morocco's 27 kilometers, which will only take 3 years to build. China, a world power in infrastructure development, will require 4 years to construct 500 kilometers. The French, Controlled 173 Kema Railway also took 7 years to complete. What gives? The first problem is the vast chasm that separates Chinese and American cultures. The Chinese technical team says it will take too long to complete the project in China, so all of their workers may legally work for them. Put in long hours, even on days off, to rush the project forward. Even though it is now part of Northern Africa, Morocco was a colony of France and Spain for many years. As a consequence, there is a wealth of laws and labor rules in the area. Providing substantial protections for local workers, only 100 Chinese workers were sent to the area. The remaining 1,300 laborers were employed when building in China commenced. Conversely, local workers are more likely to respect the rights of the person. Therefore, unlike the Chinese, who would gladly take advantage of low-wage workers to put in overtime, local workers have a limit of 8 hours a day. It's possible to hire Chinese laborers who are willing to work overnight. As a consequence, we will not be able to finish the job as soon as China. Because France is the project's principal investor, Morocco agreed to create the high-speed rail system in line with French railway standards for the Chinese engineering team who had never worked with French rails before. They have to relearn the basics of measuring, calculating, monitoring, and building. Again, it must be updated even if the change is just 0.1 m. China spent 4 years and 27 kilometers building a culturally sensitive infrastructure to accommodate the country's diverse population. The same holds true for high-speed rail initiatives backed by France's. In just 7 years, 173 kilometers of high-speed rail were completed. This explains in part why requests for new infrastructure in Europe take so long to be approved. Secondly, there has been a rise in the number of people participating in environmental protests. Third, they prioritize personal autonomy and freedom. Any attempt at designing efficiency will be slowed by the presence of these components. The project was completed despite its very slow development speed. The railway in Morocco is finished, unlike the Indian Railway, which after 5 years has only built 10 kilometers. I'm not ashamed to say that. They too have seen China's swift advancement on this front. Moroccan authorities have been taken aback by the Chinese engineering team's achievement since they were not expecting such high output from China. The completed railroad shocked the whole continent of Africa and served as a symbol of the region's historical development. The only thing separating Morocco from Europe was a body of sea. Although high-speed rail was already in use for transportation in Europe, the pace of subway construction in Morocco was quite different. The only modes of transportation available to Morocco then were buses and old trains. Morocco risks further decline if it does not undertake necessary reforms. Now that the first high-speed rail line has been built, others will soon follow. In Morocco, they want to build a subway system of around 1,500 kilometers in length, as well as rehabilitate and upgrade 3,000 kilometers of domestic lines. We still don't know whether the remaining projects will be built in China or Europe. After Indonesia demonstrated China's might and speed at the G20, Morocco also officially announced a visa-free policy for Chinese people entering Morocco. That much is obvious. This means China can theoretically keep working on all 3 remaining Moroccan railway construction projects. In 2035, Morocco hopes to have completed its high-speed rail project that will carry 1,500 passengers per hour. It is predicted that Morocco's economy would surpass other African countries if it forms a joint venture with China and in the future, and other African countries in terms of transportation infrastructure. So what do you make of this? Your attention is much appreciated. Here are some videos regarding other surprising initiatives you may check out if you click.